All right, if you're wrangling data in Google Cloud, you know the real game isn't just about stashing it somewhere. Nope, it's about getting that raw data from A to B and turning it into something valuable along the way. That's the pipeline. And picking the right tools for that pipeline, well, that can literally make or break your whole project. So today, we're going to break down the main options in GCP so you can pick the right one every single time.
So, let's think about this a little differently. Just for a second, forget about all the code and the configurations. I want you to picture your data, and it has to go on a journey. It needs a ride, right? It's got to get picked up, changed around a bit, and then dropped off at its final destination. Now, just like in real life, the vehicle you pick is everything. I mean, are we talking about a zippy little scooter for a quick delivery, a high-speed bullet train, or a massive fleet of heavy-duty trucks? That's the core question we're going to tackle. And here's what that trip usually looks like. It almost always kicks off in, let's call it, Cloud Storage City. This is where all your raw files are just hanging out. The grand finale? That's BigQuery Bay, where your data is all cleaned up, structured, and ready to give you some amazing insights. But that bit in the middle, that's step 2, that's the actual journey. That's the processing step, the vehicle that does all the hard work. And that is what we are focusing on today.
Okay, so it's time to meet the fleet. Google Cloud basically gives you 4 main vehicles to choose from for this trip. And trust me, each one is built for a very different kind of road. We've got Dataflow, Dataproc, GCE, that's Compute Engine, and Cloud Run. So let's kick the tires on each of them and see what they're all about. First in the showroom is Dataflow, and you got to think of this one as the sleek, futuristic bullet train. This is your choice when you need massive speed and scale, but you don't want to deal with any of the operational headaches. Why? Because it's fully serverless. That means you're not managing a single virtual machine, not one. You just write your logic with Apache Beam, hand it over to Dataflow, and it handles everything else, getting the computers, scaling up, scaling down, the works. It is absolutely perfect for building brand new, super efficient pipelines. All right, next up is Dataproc. Now, if Dataflow is the bullet train, Dataproc is your powerful, reliable fleet of 18-wheelers. This is the absolute workhorse, especially if you're coming from the open source world of Spark and Hadoop. It's really the lift and shift hero. Got Spark jobs running on your own servers, you can basically pick them up and drop them onto Dataproc with very few changes. You get a managed cluster, which is nice, but you still have the keys to pop the hood and tweak the engine if you need to. And then there's GCE, Google Compute Engine. Look, this isn't even a pre-built vehicle. This is the custom hot rod kit they deliver to your garage. You get all the raw parts, the VMs, the networking, the disks, and you build your processing engine from scratch. The upside? You have total, absolute, granular control over everything. The downside? Well, you're responsible for everything. You're the mechanic, you're the driver, you're the entire pit crew, all rolled into one. It's maximum power, but also maximum responsibility.
Last but not least, we have Cloud Run. This is our nimble little delivery scooter. It's perfect for those smaller, quick-fire jobs that you can wrap up in a container. So think about something simple that needs to happen based on an event. Like maybe every time a new photo gets uploaded, you need to quickly generate a thumbnail. For that kind of short, sharp, event-driven task, Cloud Run is just unbelievably efficient and super cheap.
Okay, so we've met the whole fleet. We've got the bullet train, the trucks, the hot rod kit, and the scooter. But the big question is still hanging there. How on earth do you choose the right one? Well, the secret is pretty simple, actually. You have to match the ride to the road, right? You're not going to use a scooter to haul freight across the country, and you don't need a whole bullet train just to pop down to the corner store. The best choice is always about the specific job you need to get done. Let's break it down with this table. Honestly, you can see the biggest trade-off right away in that first column, management level. Look at the two ends of the spectrum. You've got Dataflow and Cloud Run, which are totally serverless. You basically don't manage anything. It's super hands-off. Then, all the way on the other side, you have GCE, which is completely unmanaged. You do it all. And right there in the sweet spot in the middle is Dataproc, which is managed. It strikes a nice balance between having things done for you and still having control. This one thing, how much you want to manage yourself, really decides which tool is right for you.
Now, this next one is the big face-off. This is probably the choice people struggle with the most. For heavy-duty data processing, Dataflow versus Dataproc, the bullet train versus the truck fleet. And the choice gets a lot clearer when you look at what's under the hood. Dataflow is all about Apache Beam. It has this really elegant way of handling both batch jobs and live streaming data in one unified model, which is incredible for brand new pipelines. Dataproc, on the other hand, was built for one thing, to run the Spark and Hadoop jobs you already have. So for migrations, it's a no-brainer. You go with Dataproc.
But here's the thing. Picking the perfect vehicle is only half the battle.
You could have the fastest car in the world, but if you don't have a map or a plan, you're not getting anywhere, right? A pro driver plans the route, knows where the bumps are, and keeps an eye on the GPS. In our world, that's called logistics. And it's these logistics that turn a simple one-off script into a tough, reliable, production-ready pipeline that just runs.
And there are really 3 critical pieces of logistics you have to nail down. First up, scheduling. You need to put your pipeline on a timer so it departs automatically without you having to push the button every time. Second is retry logic. You know, what happens when you hit a pothole? A good pipeline doesn't just crash, it knows how to back up and try again. And third, observability. This is your dashboard, your GPS map. You need to be able to see where your data is at all times with logs and metrics, so if something goes wrong, you can find it and fix it fast.
I know, we've covered a ton of ground here. So let's boil it all down into a super simple travel guide. Just think of this next bit as your go-to cheat sheet, the one you can stick on the wall to help you pick the right vehicle fast. And honestly, it really just comes down to this simple if this, then that pattern. If your goal is totally hands-off, massive scale processing for both batch and streaming, you grab Dataflow, the bullet train. If you're moving an existing Spark job over to the cloud, that's a job for Dataproc, the truck fleet. If you need ultimate fine-grained control for some custom-built thing, you're building your own hot rod with GCE. And finally, if it's just a small, quick job that kicks off from an event, you send in the scooter, Cloud Run. See? When you frame it like that, it's pretty darn clear. At the end of the day, every single data journey you plan is going to be unique. The road from a messy, raw file to a genuine, game-changing insight is always going to have its own twists and turns. The key is to stop thinking like just a developer and start thinking like a fleet manager. You've got to look at the data you're hauling, look at the road you have to travel, and then choose the absolute best vehicle for that specific job. So the real question I'll leave you with is this: what vehicle are you going to choose to finally unlock the massive value that's hiding in your data?